While some might attribute the success of PFH to Westside Gunn and the Griselda machine behind it, this one is mostly for Dolo.
So what can you say about that?
Go subscribe. Yeah, subscribe.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome to Brews and Reviews. It's Knowledge. Today I'm reviewing Mach-Hommy Balens Cho, Hot Candles. And these rappers are throwing off my schedule. I tried to get everything on day one, but my last review, your old Droog, dropped on a Monday, and Mach dropped the following Saturday. I mean, I'm for new releases any day of the week as a fan, but as a reviewer with a day job, it's hard to keep up with this. But I'm excited about it because Mach was my #1 listened to artist of 2021, both on Last FM and on Spotify Wrapped. I haven't put out my top 10 of the year yet, but quite possibly Pray for Haiti could be #1 on that list. It was #1 on my mid-year top 10. So it was a breakout year for Mach-Hommy, connecting with the #1 curator in music right now, Westside Gunn, and Mach made a bigger name for himself because of that, with the Griselda backing and production from people like the great Conductor Williams, who's on this as well. And that being said, he is a reluctant artist to break out. In the past, only selling hard copies of his albums, sometimes for $100 plus, and not being on social media, continuing to keep his face and true identity hidden. So he remains an enigmatic artist in that, but also somebody who is breaking out, getting more success, but staying true to himself and his vision, which he talks about on this a little bit as well. And while one of the reasons for covering his face, he says, is to separate the story from the storyteller, this is actually a very personal album, and we see a very revealing look of the storyteller behind it. First off, we got Labou, and I don't think that's that difficult of word, but I apologize in advance for some of these Haitian Creole pronunciations that I'm going to attempt. However, this track has some really nice horns on the beat. This is courtesy of Mach himself, as most of the album is, although a lot of these self-produced tracks have people listed as composers. This one and several other tracks have Nicholas Craven credited in that role. Labou in Haitian Creole means mud, but the beat is very crisp and clear. The title comes from Mach's sung chorus in his trademark, unique, gruff, harmonizing. Really, we can say Mach style with his rhymes are one of a kind. You don't hear any other rapper like that out there, but maybe his singing style is even more unique. The only slight influence that I hear that I could maybe kind of compare it to is Mos Def, but Mos was not as gruff as that. He was a little more soulful, and Mach is soulful in his gruffness somehow. And on this, Mach's proclaiming that he came out of the mud, and he says, "Just last year I was chilling in my fortress. Went back to the block, they said no cutting corners. I was really picking lemons in the orchards. Now I'm revving the engines on 911 Porsches." He seems to be speaking on his breakout year here, definitely after Pray for Haiti, and referencing his 2020 album, Mach's Hard Lemonade, with the picking of lemons on the cover of that. But he goes on to say how hard he personally worked for his success, stating he is his own Rick Rubin and Russell Simmons, the founders of Def Jam, doing for himself what they did of some of the biggest artists in the 80s and 90s. Separation of the Sheeps and the Goats, definitely a standout track. This beat is beautiful. Again, produced by Mach himself with Craven as the composer. And he says, "Seen what I seen, you'd be slumped up in an alley. Out here you lucky if you not a junkie or an alkie. Perfect strangers, no balky. Smoke you like Korean barbecue. You know where the cow be. The cow be you," if you were wondering. And you don't hear too many 80s sitcom references in hip-hop these days, but for you youngsters out there, that's where the other line, the Perfect Strangers line, comes from. It's referencing that. I think Mach is about my age and showing it here. And I'm gonna drink to this track. I am sipping on a New Belgium Accumulation. That is a winter hazy IPA coming in at 6.5% from the brewery in Colorado. And this is a winter album for sure. And it's also very hazy. Maybe I'm stretching there with the connection to the beer, but this is what I have. And it's a great winter beer at that. So let's get back into this album. Magnum Band Remix, the remix to the great track off Pray for Haiti. This one produced by Ross G, and it's not really a remix in the sense of the beat. And this beat is a much dirtier sound than we get on most of the rest of the album, which, like I said before, is very crisp. And it's not too much related to the original track with the lyrics either. There's a great line about an op being visited at his casa by a man in a mask like a doom poster. I love that line, and it also gives me a chance to show this. This was a drawing from my 10-year-old son. He just did this recently without me asking, and I am so proud. Look at the quality on that. MF Doom fan, my son. And we got some great, although cryptic, spoken word by A.A. Rashid on the end of this. I like the imagery of the tree with the roots upside down and art and myth becoming reality. Although I'm not quite pulling together what's meant by all space programs being from Africa, maybe tying into the fact that the original man is from Africa, but I don't get the full interpretation of this. If you've got a good interpretation, let me know in the comments. Lajan Sal. Man, more great production here. And I don't know if I can say that I like this production better than Pray for Haiti, which was probably the best produced album of the year, but I like how different it is. He didn't try to capitalize on that same sound. And this track is another standout. Lajan Sal means dirty money. There's a great line in here where he seems to be going after somebody very real. We know maybe who his op is, which is another one of my most listened to artists of the year. I'll let you guys figure that out. But he says, "Please don't gas, son. Too much sugar in his diet, not enough potassium." Talking about guns like he the only one who has them. Been playing with the heat as long as Udonis Haslam. This is followed by a skit. These skits, by the way, La Troisième, La Quatrième, translate to just counting up, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I can't find the movie that these clips are from. If you know this movie, let me know, because I was Googling, I couldn't find it. Wooden Nickels, this is another standout, and I'm gonna stop saying that now. Every track is a standout on this project. This one was also self-produced and is very different from Pray for Haiti. Probably the biggest musical departure. He had nothing on that as Melly. He had nothing as mellow and jazzy on Pray for Haiti. And here are some of those personal lyrics that I was talking about at the beginning. Among others, he's talking about his grandfather who helped people his whole life, but after he died, no one really paid respects or maybe even came to his funeral. And he's going on to talk about people who owed his dad money and they wouldn't pay up after his death. And Mach puts it plain. He says, "They call you selfish anyway. Might as well be that way from the gate." Traditional, another drumless track here for Mach to cut through the instrumental with his razor voice. And he speaks about his non-traditional route to success. He says, "Humans and tapes, they're all flippable. Only Olivia Newton-John didn't make more money off of physical." Nice. You see, Olivia Newton-John had a big hit that was called Physical, and Mach made his money off of flipping physical music. Money Magnets comes through with the only guest verse on the album by Mach's most frequent collaborator, the god Fahim, and both he and Mach go well beyond their 16-bar verses, showing their chemistry here. Self-Law. That brings us to the most talked about track, and to me, this is the best track about health since Dead Prez's Be Healthy back in 2000. We got Conductor Williams on the beat. Never heard a bad beat from Conductor. And this one is no exception with the vocal sample about loving yourself and not taking it all for granted. But as great as the beat is, Conductor, we have a problem. Mach even overshines the production here because he's spitting jewel after jewel from the opening lines, talking about how everyone's just running through life, living at a fast pace, not stopping to appreciate life or even breathing itself, to talking about the wear and tear on his body catching up to him and having to see his dentist every week. It's true, as you get older, dental problems get worse, and it's not really about cavities. You got to be careful with those gums and grinding and breaking teeth and all that. Great line about stopping to appreciate. He says just taking a walk in the sun is momentous. And then he comes through with this great advice and perspective. He says, all this talk of securing bags is hysterical. You are the bag. You gonna stay rich if you take care of you. The message is that material stuff is really worthless if you don't have health and longevity. Mach did it again. And it's all the more amazing that he changed up his sound that he dropped just about 9 months ago, maybe. And this is nothing like Pray for Haiti per the instrumentals, nor the lyrical tone and message. While some might attribute the success of PFH to Westside Gunn and the Griselda machine behind it, this one is mostly for Dolo. So what can you say about that? Mach does it on his own, he does it in collabs, he just does his damn thing. Even producing most of the beats here. And there's nothing better than an artist who's successful while staying true to themselves. I mean, really, who gets famous off selling physical music in this day and age and not even being on social media? That itself is a testament to how good the artistry really is. True artistry shines through despite the marketing or label or anything else behind it. And I give this glimpse into a true artist's brain a 10 out of a 12-pack. Thank you for watching my review of Mach-Hommy Balens Cho. If you like this, go ahead and hit like now and hit me up in the comments. If you didn't like it, also let me know why in the comments. I drop hip-hop and hops related content consistently, so until I see you next time, keep buzzing.
Look at man, just subscribe. But if he's on his channel saying that somebody's album is better than mine, unsubscribe to that motherfucker.
No, your album's the best, man.
There you go. Subscribe.
Yeah.
Subscribe.